Welcome everyone, LanceScurvX here of LanceScurvX.com. I wanted to speak about the recent news of Sugar Ray Leonard, Hall of Fame fighter, all-time great, and his son, Daniel, who he had to have arrested because of his drug activity and his addiction. The addiction was probably before, maybe around the last 8 years, 7-8 years, and he mentioned maybe 9 years possibly. And that's a long time. And Daniel Leonard, his son, was living at home. And I believe he was about maybe 28 years old, 25, 28. We'll get to that because I'm going to read off the actual facts from the story that I have. So there were different platforms that spoke about it, but this particular one from the New York Post gave more facts on the situation. Just allow me to read this off and bring you up to par. And you probably heard about it already, but for me, being a lifelong boxing fan, this was really not shocking because in any sport or in any career, your family can go through tragedies. It doesn't mean that if you have money, you can't go through things or fame. But here it is from the New York Post, and I'll put the link below so you can read this yourself. Sugar Ray Leonard made some shocking claims about his son, Daniel Leonard, just hours after the 25-year-old was arrested in Los Angeles last week. The boxing legend filed a request for a restraining order against his youngest son on May 20th, in which he wrote that Daniel was an addict, a thief, and a danger to himself and his family, according to the document obtained by the California Post. Okay, he has overdosed 4 times, Ray said in a handwritten declaration. They had to bring him back to life 2 times at the hospital. He has stolen extreme amounts of money, valuable items. He's been stealing every day for years. Whew. Ray asked a judge for an order that would require Daniel to stay 100 yards away from him, his home, his job, his vehicle, and his wife, Bernadette, and his daughter, Camille. Ray also requested an order for Daniel to move out of his Pacific Palisades residence. My son, Daniel Leonard, has been a drug addict for 7 or 8 years at least, Ray wrote. His behavior has gotten worse over the years. Ray said there were 2 incidents that occurred earlier this month that sparked this sudden need for the order. The first, Ray wrote in the filing, happened at his Pacific Palisades home on May 19th. We had a physical altercation where he pushed me and got ugly, Ray said. The police officers were needed at that moment. The police officers came and Daniel was escorted off the property because of where things were headed. According to Ray, he was given a temporary restraining order against Daniel following that encounter. But the next day, on May 20th, Daniel appeared at his home again and was arrested for violating the order. Los Angeles County jail records show Daniel was taken into custody at around 6:45 a.m. and was not released until May 22nd. Daniel's behavior has become so cold, Ray wrote in his filing. I love my son, but he has become a danger not only to himself, but to his family. My wife is extremely afraid, along with my daughter Camille. His behavior has gotten worse every day. We haven't had a day of peace in 9 years, which is the reality of his addiction. Scared for my family. Okay, there's more stuff here, little details that you can go on and read, but it's not much more than that. 9 years. 9 years. Maybe when he first became addicted, they didn't realize what it was. And there were situations where Sugar Ray Leonard was at events with his son, attending, they're taking photos, they're smiling, they're hugging each other. That tells me that if he had an addiction for 9 years and really known for 7 or 8 years, that he was trying to work with him. He had him living there. If he died twice and they had to bring him back, even though he had 4 overdoses, To me, Sugar Ray Leonard was showing love to his son and caring for him. Of course, he has him living there. And all people don't have to support your children just because you have a lot of money. Some do, some don't. Some earned it the hard way and say, listen, I earned it the hard way. If there's something you want to do, go to school to learn, or a business you want to start, I'll back you up and I will be your safety net for it, but you have to do something for yourself. Now, I'm not saying that maybe he didn't try something for himself, but I doubt it. Maybe Sugar Ray Leonard was too soft on him growing up. I know many years ago, it was stated that Sugar Ray Leonard was worth at least $100 million. I'm quite sure, as wise as he is and as frugal as he is on his level, right? I mean, if he's driving a luxury car, you can't get mad at him, right? But I don't see him flashy, running around like Floyd Mayweather with the foolishness. He seems to be level-headed and about his business. And you don't hear any drama from him since he left boxing. So to me, his wife, his daughter, he's a family man. He's enjoying the fruits of his labor. He wanted his son to do good. And it seems like he had a long fuse. And now when it got to the point where you want to throw hands with Sugar Ray Leonard, I don't care if you're 70 years old or he's 70 years old. I'm not putting my hands up against Sugar Ray Leonard. And the son is so much taller. Come on, man. I don't care if you're a 6'5", 250 pounds. You better not try to put hands up against a 70-year-old Sugar Ray Leonard. I've seen clips of him. But it's not even just about that he's a championship fighter, an all-time great. That's your father. I don't care if your father was a little person and you're a giant and he showed this kind of love to you. And this is how this thing makes you. See, many of you know I have an older brother, 11 years older than me, who's still out there on substances. College educated, brilliant, and like I tell everybody, he is so sharp. He reads the paper, the New York Times, keeps himself sharp, keeps himself clean, very mannerable and engaging and charismatic. If he came here and sat next to me right now and I gave him 5 minutes to talk, he can convince you that I'm the one who is doing crack and heroin and all the drugs. He's that good, and you know me for years, pretty much. I don't do that. I don't do drugs. I don't do alcohol. I don't do things to poison me. Hell, I hate to take aspirin, right? But what I'm saying is that they have a way, and I've experienced this personally in my life. They have a way of shape-shifting. After a while, when they're on these drugs, their soul is gone. To me, they're like a hollow, but they know the persona to present to you to give you hope that they're going to come back strong and beat the drugs. They know, especially with a parent, a child, which he's not a child, he's 25 years old, right? But he's the youngest son. But they know the buttons to push, to stroke your heartstrings when they're an addict. I've watched this play out, knowing the BS. It wasn't allowed in my home because my brother was always out. And he would come back. Sometimes he would seem to be okay for a couple months and boom, because my father wasn't having it. He didn't go for that at all, especially with me coming up. And I have a brother, but technically I'm an only child because I'm the only child in the union of my parents. Me and my brother have different fathers. Yes, he's older than me. But I watch this kind of thing play out. So when I see these types of stories, I'm not going to say it's interesting to me, but I kind of look at the dynamics. And you have a person like Sugar Ray Leonard, and I guess we're not all perfect, but he has a wonderful wife, wonderful daughter. You see no drama. You see the reflection of his righteousness in his family, yet his son, which he has his own mind, got caught up in that stuff. My thing is, who are the people selling him this stuff? Because they know who it is. You see, when I've noticed drug dealers that were selling to people, and if it was somebody who was the son or daughter of a large business, successful business. Oh, you see her coming over here? She always got money because her father is so-and-so and he owns so-and-so. He owns this business or he owns that business. They still sell it to you. They know you're good for the money. After a while, you start stealing stuff out of the house. Could you imagine? And they tolerated this for so many years. He almost died twice. Even that, to me, wasn't publicized over the airwaves, over the media. Kept it discreet. He's a gentleman. He's a professional person. He's a family man. And I lean toward defending him, right? And he's not ghetto. Wonderful family and a plus to the community. And it's sad. My heart goes out to him. But I also applaud him for being discreet. But when it got to the point of getting physical, and especially with his son getting physical with him, his son would get hurt. He faced up to it. The media came. The story went out. And he said he's an addict, he's a thief, and he's a danger to the household, because when you're on drugs and you're stripped of your soul, you're a stranger now. You got to get that drug at all costs. Would you rather hear Sugar Ray Leonard and his wife and the daughter that they got stabbed up and they're not here anymore so he can have free reign for a little bit of time with the valuables that they had? You never know what's going through the mind of an addict. See? And they gave him a lot of chances. He was there living. You know that home had to be wonderful. You know he had to have his own area, the pool in the back there. Why would you want to mess that up? This is to tell you how powerful drugs are. How powerful. But there has to be a void, a pre-existing void inside of you for that thing to grab you. It's true. I've never done drugs in my life, but I tell you this much. I enjoy the beauty of a sunrise. I enjoy the beauty of the walk in nature. I enjoy waking up to another day full of potential to accomplish something to make my life incrementally better for that day than it was the day before. I enjoy feeling as though I'm on a trajectory to be at my personal best. These are the things that bring me joy. The way I was raised by my parents. Discipline. And it comes from the inside. Also accountability. Plus they kept me busy enough, and I kept myself busy enough to the point where I didn't have time for that. Listen, I was winning a lot of bodybuilding trophies when I was 19 years old. What was that, 1982? Crack came through around that time. It did not tempt me to use it. It did not tempt me to sell it. I was on my way to keep my body healthy. I had goals. I wanted a good life. And that couldn't get me. And I'll tell you now, it's a matter of willpower, because I know many brothers and sisters that with the help of the Creator, staying focused, knowing what this thing is doing to you, they have defeated that thing. But like they say, once an addict, always an addict. And it doesn't mean that, well, you're just never going to stop being that. But the potential is there because you have walked down that road. And sometimes when tragic things happen, mentally, you go back to what you know. Just like a person who reaches for the bottle of alcohol, just like a sex addict who goes back into reckless sex, or people with an anger management problem. You go to that thing that takes you away from whatever void or whatever pain that you have on the inside. But I'm telling you straight up, I've said it before, and give me your opinion on this, because I'm very opinionated, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't think I'm better than anybody else. I know that stuff is powerful, but like I said, I love life, a clean life. At 63 years old, I'm looking forward to my best years on this planet. Whenever the Creator says my time is up, it's up, but I'm not gonna rush it. But here it is. I don't care how strong that stuff is, or how good they say it makes you feel. That, oh, and we're gonna pick crack. When you get that first hit of crack, man, it's better than the orgasm. Okay, who doesn't like an orgasm? And you're telling me this is better than an orgasm? But you know what? I don't need the orgasm then. Take the orgasms that I'm gonna have for the rest of my life away because I like a sweet life. And if you held me down and put a gun to my head and say, if you don't inhale the crack out the crack pipe, we're gonna blow your head off. And say, for example, I saw them do that to 2 or 3 other people before me, and I know they're serious. And I inhaled the crack and felt what it was that people feel. And they turned me loose out in the world. I don't care what I felt. I'm not doing it. My willpower, my mind, my connection to the Creator, my love for life. I've had some sweet moments in this life, naturally. I don't have that type of void inside of me. I can't fail now at this point in my life. It's me, I have my children, and I'm not gonna sit here at this age, at this particular junction point in my life. I'm not doing it. Some will disagree. Some will say, Lance, I'm an addict, and it all depends on the will, the psychological, spiritual, physical makeup of the person, and discipline. I don't want to live a life where I'm not enjoying something natural. And my parents have transitioned, but I would not want to make them see that. See, because I saw that look on my mother's face of disappointment and hurt and hope to the end. And she held out hope. Right? But it got to a point so bad, I have a lot of stories about this thing. So it's very personal to me. When she realized that he was never going to change after all the lying and manipulating, and when I sat down with her and I had a talk with her, not to make her feel bad, but to make her realize the situation, but I didn't put it on her in some guilt trip way or whatever. I relieved her of a lot of the pain she felt. But at the same time, the realization that he was not going to change, and anybody can change, we understand that. But in this case, maybe in Sugar Ray Leonard's son's case, they're done with it. You're not going to pull the whole family down. Once she accepted and saw reality for what it was, for all the decades that he had been using drugs, whatever drug that was out there, he was using it. And there's more to that story than meets the eye. Right? That I can tell you right. We'll be here for hours, right? To convince you, but trust me, what he has done and the things that he's done, and come back and shapeshift and know how to talk to her, and then she has hope in him, and he lets her down again and again and again and again. And it got to the point of me and him getting physical. And that wasn't pretty, and it hurt me. But that's how these things can do, and you got to put your foot down. So I commend Sugar Ray Leonard for putting his foot down and not being ashamed to speak out what it was. No, you face things in the eye, you assess the situation, and you deal with it accordingly. And with his makeup, not just because he was a fighter, but to be on the level that he was on, you have to have a heck of a mind and focus and drive. And you're not going to let something mess up the rest of your family. You got to understand that. But for me, once she saw what it was, it took her out of here. It took her out of here. One stroke and then another one. And that, I believe, was the reason why it hurt her. And I didn't mean to do it. I didn't say, oh, you did this, you did that. I let her know I'm going to be here for you for the rest of your life. But we have to face this thing together because this has got to stop. It's affecting you. Because when a family member is on drugs like that, it's a ripple effect through the whole family if they care. Some families don't care. They just get out, get away from you, do whatever you want to do. But that person that you're dealing with is not the same person. You see the face, they know how to act. They know you well. Like, children know their parents well. So they know what buttons to push. That's how it is. And it's a sad situation. Some people make it, Some people don't. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What do you think about this situation? I'm going to talk more about it on another video, but I just wanted to speak about that, not to report news that's already out there, but because so many people know who Sugar Ray Leonard is and the way he handled it. I think he handled it quite well. He had a long fuse. 9 years is a long time, and the son had his chances. And like I said, you're living luxuriously, and you're going to tear that up. You have a father that can help you do anything you want, right? And we have people out here who have less, but they've done more, right? Of course, you're going to be spoiled to a certain degree, but I don't think Sugar Ray Leonard would purposely just spoil him bad, especially when you come up in the life of discipline with your practice of professional fighting. Anyway, let me know what you think. LanceScurv out. On to the next one. Peace.